always got your baby. Hello everybody, it is me, Vincent, coming to you from my lovely home, and I've got a video for you all that I said I wasn't gonna do. I said I was done with Halloween Horror Nights content, but a lot of you have asked for this, so I thought it would be fun to do, and I should do it. One more video before the season ends. It feels only fitting that we talk about the future of Halloween Horror Nights, or more specifically, my perfect version of the future of HHN. I've done this with Universal Studios Florida. I've done this with Islands of Adventure. Now, I'm gonna share with you guys my perfect version of Halloween Horror Nights. This is kind of a mix of like a fantasy HHN where it's like ideas that like would maybe never really happen versus like things that absolutely do need to happen to Halloween Horror Nights very, very soon. Otherwise, it is a completely missed opportunity. Something that I wanted to start with, and I think the most important thing for a Halloween Horror Nights event is the icon, right? The sort of host of the event. Who is the presence all throughout the park that's setting the tone, setting the mood? Is it a demented ringleader? Is it two interdimensional beings of I don't know how to explain them. That is a really, really big part of this event, and I think it's a really great way to build fans and build lore for the event, to build interest. We have now so many different icons that I don't think you need to really create a new one every single year, you know? Let's build up the ones that we have. So my ideas for the icons moving forward in my perfect HHN world is that we rotate throughout all of the different icons. I mean, look, Jack the Clown, Caretaker, the Director, Eddie, Storyteller, the Usher, that already there is 5 or 6 different people that you can rotate through every 5 or 6 years. When you do that, you create familiarity. And Halloween Horror Nights fans love being familiar with the event. So we are gonna get the return of my favorite Halloween Horror Nights icon, the Director. I think that character is such a cool icon. I love his story, I love the idea of him. But oddly enough, you know, when he was the icon for Halloween Horror Nights, it wasn't happening at Universal Studios. It was actually happening over at Islands of Adventure. So he needs a proper year here. And with the Director back as an icon at Universal Studios, you have a really great opportunity to sort of kind of like bring Halloween Horror Nights back to this straight and narrow expectation that people have of it, which is this is a place where we have haunted houses based off of scary movies, right? You know, people go to Universal Studios to ride the movies. Now they're going to Halloween Horror Nights to survive the movies. That's a good one there. The Director will hang out at the entrance of the park. He will have a scare zone there, kind of like Dr. Oddfellow had. I think this is something that they need to do every year. Have the icon just hang out at the front of the park. Keep them at the front. This tells people that this is who is hosting tonight's event. But he's also going to have a show at the front of the park. Very, very similar to the one that he did in 2003 at Islands of Adventure called Infestation. So if you don't know what this was a show at what used to be the Lost Continent, and the Director would show up and they would actually get guests from the park to put their head in a box, almost like Fear Factor style, spin the wheel, and depending on what you got bugs in the box. So you got centipedes, like scorpions, rats, all the nasty stuff, all the creepy crawlies. We are bringing this back in our version of HHN. Theme parks don't really do this kind of stuff in the modern age, you know what I mean? Everyone just wants to sue everybody for every little thing. But in my perfect version of Halloween Horror Nights, they can still do this, okay? Of course, guests are gonna have to sign a waiver if they wanna volunteer for this show. But if they do and it makes it work, they get on stage and they get to be in the Director's latest film. This, of course, is a really great way to have people hang out at the front of the park. You know, it gets really busy at the start when everyone's coming in, but then it kind of gets dead. You know, there's not really any reason to hang around that area. And now you've got that. Also, it's just like one more show at the event. Now I'm gonna cut into my haunted houses. I have 10 haunted houses planned out for the event. So I'm gonna start with the most obvious. The first haunted house of this year, one of the big headliners, is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, come on, we gotta do Five Nights at Freddy's, right? One, it is extremely popular. One of the most popular modern horror video game, now movie franchises out there right now, okay? Super popular with people. Two, the movies are done by Blumhouse, which Universal owns, or at least does a whole bunch of stuff with, has a partnership with. Blumhouse has been at the event a bazillion, trillion, million years. Why don't we have Five Nights at Freddy's? This is an IP that at the event needs to get the king treatment, okay? Universal needs to understand that this franchise will bring in a bazillion, million, trillion fans. I hope it's something that's in the works already. I also kind of have an idea of where I want all of these haunted houses. Five Nights at Freddy's is a soundstage house. That is because these sets are typically more elaborate in the sound stages, and I want it to be where I enter that soundstage and I am seeing Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This is a franchise that's known for its iconic and recognizable sets. If you build it in a soundstage, it has that space. The performers are gonna be more than likely a mixture of puppets and then people in actual suits, right? Like you have to have a big foxy kind of jumping out at you like that. The sound stages are these big warehouses basically, and you can run the air cold. If someone's inside that suit, that helps them stay cool and not like overheat, you know? Or if they actually end up using like actual animatronics, like for example, it'd be really cool if there was a scene where you're walking through like the main floor of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and they had animatronics that were kind of like singing the songs and stuff like that. I feel like I don't even need to really say much else. Five Nights at Freddy's absolutely has to happen. In my version of HHN, it is there. This is probably gonna be one of the longest lines at the event. Now my second one, I have to admit, these are movies that I have not watched because I'm kind of scared to watch them. I've heard really crazy things about these movies and I've seen some clips, but I don't even think I could like handle it. You know what I'm talking about. Terrifier comes to VincentVision's Halloween Horror Nights, and this is, as you would expect, the goriest, bloodiest, nastiest haunted house that Universal has ever put out. I know some scenes that play out in this movie, and I don't even really want to describe them in this video or even try to use imagery from the movies because it's just that graphic. You know, the most recent Terrifier 3 came out, and as of now, I think the movie's made about like $40 million. The movie itself cost $2 million to make. That's a really great sign of its success, that it's made this much money. And that character, Art the Clown, a lot of people are saying that this character is like one of the new horror icon legends, right up there with like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers and, you know, Jason, Saw. So I think you need to strike while the iron is hot, and you need to put in a little Terrifier house at Universal. And it cannot be like the movies, okay? That is just a fact. Like, you can recreate some of the scenes from the movies, but not all the scenes, okay? People also just really love that character, so they just kind of want to see him in person. Terrifier having a haunted house just makes tons of sense. I would rather go into the Terrifier haunted house than watch the movies, which maybe after recording this video, maybe I'll watch one of the movies, but I'm gonna watch it like this. Another character that is very popular in the horror world right now is not as scary as Art the Clown, but very popular at Halloween Horror Nights. In fact, she has shown up twice now and is always the topic of conversation. It's Megan. Megan, in my event, gets a full haunted house, and it's gonna be at a new location, the return of a location rather. The Megan haunted house is going to be at the front of the park at the former Shrek, now VillainCon space. They used to do a haunted house where the Shrek ride used to be. One of the theaters was a space that they could use as a haunted house, and allegedly the VillainCon ride has been built with that space as well. They just put out a documentary recently on Peacock, and it shows the creation of the ride, and they have a scene where they show like the layout of the building, and there's a big old space. Megan is just so popular. That character's so popular. There's a #2 movie coming out in 2025. This is kind of like Chucky, where you don't necessarily need to recreate scenes from the Megan movie, because there really isn't that many like iconic kills or things like that. You know, you can just have the character itself. It's very endearing to a lot of people, and you can do a haunted house where you're going through the factory where Megan is and have a bunch of weird, creepy, like half Megans, like from the end of the movie, and then have the full body, like regular Megan. And of course, you have a scene where she's doing maybe the dance in the haunted house, and she kind of comes at you with a machete. As the event becomes more popular, you do start to see more younger guests, and there's not really anything we can do about that, okay? I don't think it's ever gonna get like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, but like, there are going to be 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 13-year-olds who are going to the event. And you know what? I think it's totally fine. You know what? I love Halloween Horror Nights, and they should enjoy it too. And maybe they shouldn't go into the Terrifier haunted house, but if there's a Megan haunted house, which can still be scary, like, I don't think that's a bad idea. Keep the Megan going. Every time she shows up in this event, people go crazy for her. Imagine if she had a haunted house. Now this next one, if this event was real and I was going to it, this would be the house that I am most excited for. A genre of haunted house that I think Universal kind of was a little too early on, I gotta admit, was video games. They have done video game haunted houses before. I think they were cool. They had a Resident Evil haunted house a couple years back, but it was kind of a little cheesy, a little video gamey. But now the horror video game scene has become very scary. They recently remade that same game that the haunted house was based off of. It's a lot scarier now. And there are so many more Resident Evil games that they can base these haunted houses off of that are like actually seriously terrifying. If you've ever played Resident Evil 7, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm not actually suggesting Resident Evil as a house. Instead, I am suggesting another video game that was made into a haunted house, which was Silent Hill. I have been playing the Silent Hill 2 remake on PlayStation 5. It's a really scary game. Perfect for this event. I cannot stop playing and just thinking about how this haunted house would be the quickest, easiest way to describe Silent Hill, for those who are not familiar with it. The story about this guy, his name is James, and he's going to Silent Hill, which is a town that he and his wife used to go to, but she died mysteriously 3 years ago. And as he goes to this town, he kind of finds out it's not what it seems, or it's not what he remembers. The whole town is covered in fog, and there are some pretty scary and ugly monsters that are terrorizing him. There's almost like this like upside down Stranger Things style place called the Other World, and this is like where you're seeing these like old rusted rundown buildings. It is like the perfect environment for a haunted house. And Silent Hill has a lot of iconic imagery. It has a lot of iconic characters like Pyramid Head. Obviously this house would have the iconic Pyramid Head chasing you down a hallway, popping out in certain areas of the house. You just have to put up that sign that says welcome to Silent Hill, you know, have some abandoned cars, put up a building facade that looks old and rusted and all that. And of course, the most important thing, the fog. Have that Silent Hill fog rolling in. Imagine you're going into this haunted house and you're walking in and you can't even see the entrance because the fog is just so thick. And then every so often you have that town alarm play, that in the back. Oh my gosh. That would be a very, very scary, very creepy haunted house. The Silent Hill 2 remake gets a haunted house. If you have a way to play this game and you love scary games, you should definitely try this one out, because you will see what I mean when I say this is a really great idea for a Halloween Horror Nights haunted house. And then IP number 5, our last IP for the event, is one that has been at the event for many years now. It is the Universal Monsters. Of course, they have to have a house. This time, though, we're focusing on somebody who has yet to get love. You know who I'm talking about. The Creature of the Black Lagoon. There will be a Creature of the Black Lagoon versus the Wolfman haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights. So fun fact, I don't know if you actually knew this or not, but the Creature of the Black Lagoon was actually filmed in Florida at a couple of the springs here in the state. Because of that, that is where the setting of this haunted house is going to take place. It's going to take place in the good old Florida swamp, all right? And the Creature of the Black Lagoon has somehow found his way in the waters, and he is out for blood and revenge. Out there in the forest as well, it's not a swamp yeti, but instead, the Wolfman. Oh, he has somehow found his way into the Florida woods, and these two creatures are going to fight. I think this would introduce a setting that we have not really had before, which is like swampland, or at least we don't get it very often. We're gonna keep this at the location where the Eternal Bloodlines haunted house was, just cause I feel like it just makes sense to have it back over there. But yes, we keep the Universal Monster trend going. This time, we're showing some love to the Creature of the Black Lagoon. And yes, and actually, one more guy, he's in the house the entire time. It's the Invisible Man. He's in every room of the haunted house. You just can't see him. Okay, that was really cheesy. So now we're gonna jump into the original haunted houses. I've got 10 haunted houses for this year. We're gonna keep it a nice even 10. We are gonna get a haunted house based off of Poseidon's Fury. I mean, come on, we gotta do it. The ride is closed, the ride is gone. This is how the Temple of Poseidon lives on. This haunted house is gonna be at the tent location, Tent 1. This is where 2024's The Museum Deadly Exhibits is, and I think you could build a really great haunted house based off Poseidon. Now, the storyline of this haunted house is gonna be kind of like an alternate reality where the Global Wonder Expedition Group has excavated into the Temple of Poseidon, and this has angered the god. So he lures us in to Atlantis through the water vortex. We're bringing back the HHN vortex. This time it's going to be a water vortex, or at least it's going to look like one. And he's bringing us into the tombs to suffer and perish and be tortured. And throughout the haunted house, you can have people dressed up like Taylor, the actor from the Poseidon's Fury show, kind of getting tortured in various ways, have like a trident through his chest, and all of Poseidon's merman minions are all torturing these people. And the mer people will be like these kind of hideous, grotesque, humanoid people with fish features, and you can even have some kind of like bigger, bulkier ones. Bring back the costumes from the depths of fear. And then of course the finale room will be your encounter with Poseidon himself, where he sits on this big throne and he has this trident. And you know, maybe this is one we could have some flowing water in a tent for the first time, huh? That would be pretty cool. Have tons of water all around. He's gonna have Lord Darkanon's head on the trident, and he said, "You don't gotta worry about Lord Darkanon, you gotta worry about me." Oh, a dead Dr. Baxter right at the entrance of the haunted house, like in the first room. He's like crushed under some like collapsed stones and supports of the building. Poseidon's Fury, haunted house, do it. Now my next original haunted house is me wanting to give some love to a holiday that I don't think gets a lot of love at the theme parks. And that is, of course, Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday. Theme parks don't do anything for Thanksgiving. And at Halloween Horror Nights, it is gonna get some love in the form of a haunted house with the Triplets of Terror. The Triplets of Terror are gonna be coming back, and this year, they're gonna be terrorizing a town during Thanksgiving season. I love the design of these characters. I think they're really awesome, and I would love to see them in more scenarios. And I know that like the way I have it set up for a Thanksgiving themed haunted house kind of breaks the lore of the Triplets of Terror. The fact that they recreate their family's murders every 10 years on the day. We're gonna, you know, stretch it out a little bit and move some things around just so that these characters can become recurring characters for different holiday themed haunted houses, where the year after that, maybe we could do a Christmas haunted house where they're killing people during Christmas time, kind of like Psycho Scarapy, Home for the Holidays. This haunted house is gonna be inside one of the sound stages. I want the entrance facade to be as if you're walking in and you see the fall trees and you can smell, you know, stuffing or turkey or some sort of Thanksgiving scent. You can see there's a party going on in a window, and then the triplets come in and start stabbing the family. I love these characters. I think it looks super cool. I think these are characters that are extremely versatile, where you can put them in different scenarios and they still make a really fun, grisly, gruesome Halloween Horror Nights haunted house. Even though we're kind of bending the rules of them, we'll just have to, it'll be worth it, okay? Now the idea for this next original house kind of comes more thinking about a setting that we haven't really seen at Halloween Horror Nights before. We've gotten snow, we've gotten rain, we've gotten city, we've gotten forest, but we really haven't gotten jungle. And I think the jungle can be pretty darn scary. So we are going to make the Jungle of Doom into a haunted house. Now this is something that has existed at the event before. It used to be a scare zone at Islands of Adventure, and most recently it was a scare zone in 2023 for Dr. Oddfellow. This is a concept that I think works well as a scare zone, but could actually be pretty scary as a haunted house. I think the idea of getting lost in the jungle can be very scary. Imagine hallways of thick foliage, and almost like how they do in the movies, you're pushing leaves aside to get through the jungle and you can't see the things that are waiting for you in the corners. There's this really scary lion puppet that they had at the Dr. Oddfellow haunted house in 2023. Make it a tiger. Imagine you're going around the corner in a jungle haunted house and a tiger pops out at you. The aesthetic of this haunted house that I'm imagining is kind of like the Jungle Cruise at Disney World, where they go to that kind of second half of the ride where they go through that temple and there's a bunch of like spiders and monkeys and tigers and stone statues. You could totally have the haunted house be like that. And then you go into the temple of this evil god and these statues are coming to life at the end, and there's these like hybrid tiger warriors and coming out at you and scaring you and sacrificing somebody. The last scene of the haunted house would be as if you're escaping the jungle. It's gonna be kind of like a bigger spread out room. I love when they do this in the haunted houses where there's like a split path. Do that for this one here. You're going through this like bamboo maze and there's all these different bamboo trees that are kind of blocking your path and forcing you to have to move around them to get out. And in that room, there'll be performers who can kind of pop out of you one last time. I think this is a really fun concept. I think this would be a really cool, beautiful haunted house as well. I think a jungle haunted house is a unique concept that we haven't really seen before at Halloween Horror Nights that I'd love to see. So this next original idea is actually not mine, it's Ellison's, and I love it, so we're including it in the video. We're gonna bring back Dead Man's Pier as a continuation of the Dead Man's Pier haunted houses. This time, it's gonna be Dead Man's Pier, Summer Storm. We're switching the colors around, and instead of focusing on like fishermen, we're gonna do pirates. The setting of this haunted house is gonna be an old pirate village on an island, and you are gonna be an explorer who's looking to search that island for gold, but you find out that the spirits of the pirates are still here and they're trying to get you. Right now, as I'm recording this, I can't tell you off the top of my head where this is from. This is an attraction somewhere. I've seen it. It looks amazing. This is like a ship in a storm. And this is just like something you walk through at an attraction at some park, I believe in Europe. When I first saw this, I was so blown away by it. I thought this was like so cool. This is how the Dead Man's Pier haunted house is going to start, where you start on a ship, you're part of the crew, you're going through a storm, and then the next scene, the ship has crashed onto this pirate island, and you're kind of like walking out of like an opening of the ship. And then when you're stepping out of the ship through this opening, you're going into a second facade of the pirate island, which is really cool. I love when they do second facades in a haunted house. Dead Man's Pier is known for having some of the most beautiful sets. This haunted house is going to match that. Instead of like a coastal fisherman town, we are now on an island with pirates who, in a way, are also like fishermen. And then my last original haunted house is going to be a monsters idea. Now, we have done the monsters of Latin America. They've done it now twice in California, once in Orlando. It's a really cool idea, but guess what? Latin America is not the only place with scary monsters in folklore. In fact, there is a whole region of the world that has just as frightening, if not even scarier, monsters and legends, and that is Japan. We are gonna do a Monsters of Japan haunted house. And this is going to be based off of all the different yokai, the different spirits and monsters in Japan folklore. But this is also gonna be an opportunity to do a hybrid house with another Universal park, Universal Japan. The Monsters of Japan will be a house where they partner with Universal Studios Japan and create kind of two haunted houses for two different coasts. They could be similar in a way, you know, I don't think it really matters that much, but I think it would be cool if there was a known collaboration with Universal Japan, which I feel like we don't really get a lot of. You know, there's not really much of a connection between the Orlando park and the Japan park. And I mean, come on guys, Japan has got some pretty scary monsters. They can come up with some pretty scary stuff. And this is also a setting that we have not really seen at Halloween Horror Nights before, you know, a Japanese setting, a distinctly Asian setting. Imagine you're walking into a soundstage and the moon is lit on a Japanese temple, and you know, I just think that'd be really, really cool images. Almost like kind of like imagery of like the Demon Slayer anime is what I imagine, that sort of era of Japan. I think that would be a really beautiful haunted house. I think it'd be a really scary, really twisted haunted house, and it would be really cool to have collaboration with another Universal park. And then as far as scare zones go, I've got ideas for some, but I'm kind of drawing a blank on the rest of them. And I'll use this as an opportunity to allow you guys to leave some comments down below. Please let me know, what are like some of your ideal scare zones for Halloween Horror Nights? What's a scare zone that you've always wanted to see? As I thought of these concepts, it made me kind of realize that coming up with a full-on Halloween Horror Nights event and making it unique and stand out from all the other years that this event has gone on for, it's actually kind of hard. Even a lot of the ideas that I've put in this video are all concepts and ideas that, one, everyone else has thought of, and two, just continuations of the already great stuff that the art and design team for Halloween Horror Nights has come up with on their own. And to that, I really just have to say, like, kudos to you guys. This is not easy. I think that is a job that people think is fun and easy, and like, of course it is, it's fun, why wouldn't it be? But it's also probably very hard and very complicated. And there's a lot behind the scenes that we don't think of when going into a gigantic event like this. You know, I think that maybe when I first started thinking about this video, I was like, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to talk about Halloween Horror Nights and the things I don't like and what I wish could be improved. And it actually ended up kind of turning into this like appreciation of the creative team and all the amazing work that they have done so far. So thank you guys. If any one of you guys is watching, thank you so much for the work you do. I'm sure all of us who watch these videos love the work that you put into this event. And when we come up with ideas like this in our own versions, it really just comes from a place of love and admiration for what you guys do. So thank you, art and design team, if you're watching. And thank you everyone else for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you thought these ideas were cool. Please let me know if you've had similar ideas or if you have ideas to expand upon them. Like seriously, I love reading them. I read every single comment in my other videos for my perfect versions of the parks. I love hearing the comments. I really do love to see those ideas. And when you guys leave comments and when you like this video and stuff like that, when you subscribe to my channel, it helps it grow. And it really means a lot to me, especially if you like Universal stuff like this. Please consider doing all those things. Help me make this channel grow for 2025. I think it's gonna be a really, really great year to be doing Universal videos. And who knows, if any of this stuff happens at Halloween Horror Nights 2025, that would be pretty cool. Though I don't think I would be super shocked if like Five Nights at Freddy's or something Megan related showed up. Like I said, those are really simple ideas that I think a lot of us have had, but I know that the art and design team, the creatives who come up with Halloween Horror Nights, these guys will get those ideas and really make them the best that they could possibly be. But apart from that, that is really all I've got. I am gonna get on out of here. Thank you guys for watching my last Halloween Horror Nights video of the season. And hold on. Gonna do this. Thank you for watching. And I will see you in the fog next year.